Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG, and we are continuing the Nationals Prep series for One Piece the card game. And right now where we are at, for you guys that may just be joining in now, is a state where they no longer are requiring invites to go to Nationals. You have to show up and of course have your ticket already purchased. But if you have an invite, you're getting a 2-round bye. And because of this, you essentially don't have to worry about OPO4 as a format if you are scared about qualifying. You just need to practice for the OPO5 meta, which is what we're doing. We're taking a little dip, even though the set's not out until December, we are taking a little dip in to make sure that everybody is ready to be playing in this format. So right before we jump into it, I just want to say, if you haven't already, think about joining the UniX fam. We have just broken 5K and we have more goals beyond that. And yeah, I had just made a video about what this channel is trying to do. But yeah, if you are liking the content, make sure you like the video, comment, have this trend. We're gonna set a like goal for 100. We did it with the Luffy video and we're still trying to get up there with the Enel video. Both of those will be in the description, by the way, so you guys can go and view that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. So without further ado, let's jump into Blue-Black Sakazuki for the OPO5 Nationals meta. So we are going to jump right in and talk about Blue-Black Sakazuki. And it's pretty cool because these actually mesh pretty well. Both blue and black tend to use their effects and calculate what they can and cannot touch based off of cost. Now, we did have blue-black last set in the form of Rebecca, but Rebecca was a very unique deck that focused on self-milling to provide a payoff with explosive finishing potential. However, now Sakazuki is what we would call a true control deck. Both of his effects leaning completely into the points that you want to have on a leader having these two colors. So activate main, once per turn, you may trash one card in your hand, draw one card. It's a break even. However, you can use it on activate main, meaning you can use it on turn 1 without being able to attack, but it's always going to be, ditch the worst card in your hand, attempt to draw better. Then when attacking, give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 cost during this turn. This is awesome because you're going to start using this effect to destroy cards or more likely bounce cards. Because generally destroying cards, you're going to have a little more reduction in there, but this actually plays very nicely the threshold of bouncing cards to the bottom of the deck or targeting the bottom of the deck or bouncing them to hand. So we'll talk more about Sakazuki's, his synergy as we start getting through these cards. So going through here, this first card is a new card out of OPO5, and this is Mensheri. This is activate main 1. You may rest this character and place 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. Then add up to 1 black character card with a cost of 3 to 5 from your trash to your hand. So this is going to be able to fetch a bunch of things that we're going to see in the future. But just think, this card gets back Sakazuki. Yeah, that's enough said. It's wonderful, actually. So that's a pretty cool thing to go off of. I said Sakazuki, Borsalino. This card can get back 4-drop blocker Borsalino, and amongst other things. So this is a pretty cool card, and it's going to put things in your trash. You're going to see a couple cards in this deck that are going to be able to fish from your trash, allowing you to make more of a toolbox-esque deck. Now next we're going to move over, we got brand new. Once again, look at the top of his head. On play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Navy type card other than brand new and add it to your hand, then trash the remaining cards. So this is just once again a way to get a Navy card. Doesn't have to be black, so you can search Navy cards like the new blue Borsalino that just came out, and then you trash the remaining cards. So this is very good. Next, you have got Soul. Well, I said Soul, I just read his forehead. Whew. One-legged toy soldier. Activate main, you may trash this character, give up to one of your opponent's characters -3 cost during the turn, but it's also a 2K. This is essentially Black's Gordon. I'm not going to even hold you. You will play this on, you'll swing with Sakazuki, minus something by 1 cost, and then you will play this card and bring it down 3 more costs. Bam, it is now a 1 cost and most of your cards can destroy it. This is a very, very, very good card in general to have for this deck. Like I said, this is Black's Gordon. Other decks sometimes tech Don Quixote do Flamingo, the 3-drop blocker from set 1, just because for 3 he's going to be able to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and rearrange them in any order and place them back down, and he's a blocker, very good. And at 4K he doesn't get destroyed necessarily by all the same things that other people get destroyed by. And then 2-drop blockers, Sakazuki can destroy those easily by reducing them to 1 upon swing and then blowing them up with some sort of effect. So this is just a very good card all around to have. Next, we got Borsalino, and Borsalino, most people should know it, counter 1k, 5k attack, opponent's turn, this character gains 1000 attack, and then also, he cannot be KO'd by effects. Lastly, he has blocker, so this makes him a very sticky card unless you walk into triggers on your own turn, but for the most part, he is very sticky and only comes off the board when your opponent bounces or tucks or runs over him. So, overall, very, very good card. Next, we have a new SR from OP05. This is another Rebecca, and right here it says blocker on play. Add up to 1 black character card with a cost of 3 to 7 other than Rebecca from your trash to your hand. Then play up to 1 black character card with a cost of 3 or less from your hand rested. This is very, 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 very nice in the actual Rebecca deck where you can recur a Luffy but play out like a Kyrios and then just blow up something. So that's actually pretty cool, but generally in this deck, you're just using it to recur some of your black cards. Once again, Borsalino is at the top of that list, but you can recur quite a few cards with just this card, and you can play cards as well rested, so that's very tight. The next card we've got is Rob Gucci in his white suit. This is actually really cool. He's no longer CP9 right now, he is CP0. On play, you may place 3 cards from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost 2 or less, and up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost 1 or less. This is a really, really cool card. This is essentially the Fire Fist of black right now. You do have to worry about getting the other opponent's cards lower on cost to use, but there are other cards, Ice Age, that are cheap, things like that, where you could potentially make this a huge value card. But because you have to lower your opponent's cost, unless you already have other things on the board in addition to your leader, or maybe a toy soldier, one-legged toy soldier waiting, this card takes a little setup and it will never be a 1 for 2. It'll almost always, unless you're facing against Zoro, it'll always be a like 2 for 2, a break even. You always have to play some cards and effects to lower the cost and then play more cards like this one to blow them up. But still, looks amazing, looks absolutely great. Next, we have Sabo. Some people do play Sabo mainly because Sabo is just going to draw you 2, discard 2, keep himself safe from destruction effects for 1 turn, and be a blocker. And that's really all you need. Filter, filling up the trash, and he's a sticky blocker in those cases. Outside of facing blue, which is unfortunate. That's the unfortunate truth, but blue do be tucking and bouncing. But this deck, as you can see, is really shaping up to be a control deck for sure. You have passive filter on your leader, you're reducing cost, you're blowing up, tucking, or bouncing, so a plethora of removal, and then on top of that, you are also able to have a lot of draw on the deck with these 2 colors, allowing you to really put yourself in a position of seeing all the outs you need in a game and just having to decide where they go best. So Sakazuki will have come out and be able to return a character with a cost of 6 or less to the owner's hand, and then he'll draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards, making that filter. 6k good because you only need 1k in order to make him 7, which is a great number to swing with unless you're attacking Whitebeard. Next, you have one of the new cards from the set again. You have Borsalino, 7 cost. He's an 8 power, which is very strong, and on play plays up to 1 character with a cost of 4 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck. This becomes a very, very popular card and powerful card versus things like Red Luffy, Purple Luffy, because by swinging with Sakazuki for free, you can reduce a queen or a kid blocker down to 4 cost, and then you just tap 7 for this and bottom deck it, knowing they're never going to see it again. So this is a very, very good card, and it becomes a very, very, very strong puncher. So that's good. The next card I want to talk about is Mihawk. Mihawk's still doing Mihawk things. Nothing really special about this card. 9k attack. On play, place 1 character with a cost of 7 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck. He's just very, very good. Again, he gets a lot of high-profile cards off the field. Enel will get off the field. If your opponent has a Yamato and they're playing yellow, of course they are if they're playing the Yamato, you can reduce the cost by a certain amount and then bottom deck it. He's also excellent against like things like purple 7-drop kid as well as the kid blockers. This guy just gets through a lot, and I think his value cannot be overstated. Mihawk is not a fraud. He is strong and one of Blue's best boss monsters since set 1. Now moving on to the next card, You got the 10-drop Kaido that just came out of OP04. He's not in every list. He's kind of teched in some, not in the others. But plays up to one of your opponent's 8 cost or lower characters, and one of your opponent's cost 3 or lower characters in their owner's hand. So he bounces, not tucks, but that's still removing 2 things off the board. And if your opponent doesn't have Rush, this is a momentum setback that can be crippling. And afterwards, he's a 10k beater, so you know he's going in for the damage. Next, you have the next 10-drop Kaido, which is a secret rare from this set. On play, draw 4 cards if your opponent has 3 or less life cards. So if you're already pushing your opponent, congratulations, get some more ammo. And this is a late game monster. I see this teched in certain decks, but it's not really an inclusion in every deck. But I see a control deck wanting a big body that can also draw them cards is not something to scoff at. This is definitely something that a control deck would like to see. Now we're moving on to the stage, Marineford. On play, give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 to their cost during this turn, and then activate main. You may rest the stage. If your leader has a navy type, give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 to their cost during this turn. So this is effectively going to turn something into a -2 the turn it comes down, or just a -1 every turn, which in conjunction with Sakazuki's leader effect will make something a -2. So this is monumental to have, because this is going to really be able to turn your opponent's cards into more deal-withable cards in your deck. Now we're going to move over to events. First, we got Meteor Volcano. KO one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 1 or less. So when you're reducing people's characters down, this card will really get in there, but it's really the trigger that's really good. Draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand. Good filter, and if you trigger it, it's definitely a +1. The next card we have is Houndblaze from this set. 2 cost Bane. Up to one of your leader characters gains +3k power during the turn. Then place up to 1 character with a cost of 2 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck. So more bottom decking, very good against cards like Curly-Dodon if you see Zoro. But for the most part, little blockers, maybe searchers, but you can bottom deck them, and then you can give your leader 3,000 power for the turn, which is going to allow them to swing pretty high. 9k is a pretty solid number. Sorry, 8k is a pretty solid number against opposing leader, and you can put 1 down on her to make them 9k and then swing for some massive, almost assured damage. Next card is Sanji's Peel-Off. Again, you don't see this card in every deck, but he will allow you to draw. And so yeah, for 3, you're drawing 2 cards, and if you trigger it, you just activate this card's main effect. Control decks control the board, as their name would insinuate, but they often run out of gas. And so you want to be able to keep drawing and see your relevant pieces as early as possible, which is why all this draw is in the deck. And then the last but not least is 3,000 Worlds, which is just a 4 cost to place up to 1 character with a cost of 5 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck because of Sakazuki. And if you get Marineford, this can potentially go to a ceiling of 7. Bottom deck a 7 drop for 4 Dawn. That sounds excellent to me. So essentially, this is why this deck works. You really have the ability to pretty much just go off and do very much so control things. This board or this deck is mostly bounce tuck with some removal, a fair amount of blockers and cards that pull them all together. And using this, you're able to just whittle down your opponent over time, especially seeing as that your big bombs are you have a bunch of 6Ks that can go 7K, like Rob Lucci, like Sogeking, but you also have bigger bodies like Borsalino and Mihawk, and sometimes even things like Kaido or Kaido's Dragon Form. And that's going to allow you to beat down your opponent after making sure that they never really get to swing with anything of importance, because they're always bouncing it back to their hand or blowing it up. So this deck has some soft removal, some hard removal. Most importantly though, it's a great control color matchup with blue and black, and on top of that, it's going to allow you to filter in cards every turn by trashing a card in your hand. So this is a pretty cool deck. I don't think it's winning every tournament, but I think it's the best control deck that we've had in One Piece so far. So let me know what your thoughts are. Sakazuki pretty much works with all these cards, just take it the extra mile. Sakazuki plus Marineford is going to allow most of your destruction effects or bounce effects to hit anything they want to. It's a beautiful thing. And yeah, I am looking forward to actually playing this. The more and more I test OP05, the more and more I feel like Enel is just not the move. It's very strong. It's also very annoying to play against, and that I just I don't know, man. I don't know. So let me know your thoughts down in the description. I know a bunch of people are saying they were waiting for Sakazuki, so I can't wait to see what your thoughts are. Remember, get this to 100 likes. We're brewing up the gameplay videos. I just want to get a couple more of these out so you guys know exactly how they evolve. And I hope you guys enjoy this content and come back for more. If you haven't joined already, just hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out the link tree. Maybe subscribe to my other channels. Jump in the Discord, which I'm overhauling very, very soon. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Thanks. Later.